Hey guys, so today we're going to go over the Caparo and Dickman 3-part test from your civil paper. The Caparo and Dickman 3-part test was established from the neighbour principle, which was far too wide and people were getting sued for everything and couldn't support all the new cases in the courts. Due to the fact the neighbour principle was too wide, the Caparo and Dickman test 1990 was then made. So the neighbour principle is made from the case of Donoghue and Stevenson. The neighbour principle means you owe a duty of care to your neighbour, and your neighbour is anybody who can be affected by your duty. In the case of Donoghue and Stevenson, Mrs. Donoghue went to a cafe with her friend. The friend bought her a drink of ginger beer and ice cream. The beer bottle was dark glass and the contents of the bottle could not be seen. After drinking some, Mrs. Donoghue poured the rest out and saw there was a dead, decomposing snail in the drink. She suffered both psychological and physical injuries. The Caparo and Dickman 3-part test has 3 parts to the test, as said by the name. Was the damage and harm reasonably foreseeable? The proximity of the relationship between the claimant. So you have time and space and relationship. And was it fair, just and reasonable? So foreseeable damage / harm. Damage is harm and suffering. Suffering being physical, psychiatric harm, loss of income and damage of property and items. The case of Kent and Griffiths shows the foreseeable damage and harm. An ambulance was called out to save somebody, however it took a really long time to arrive at the destination, longer than it should have, and due to taking so long they died. This was foreseeable, as it was foreseeable that if the ambulance took longer the damage would have worsened. Proximity of relationship. Proximity of relationship is another part of the 3-part test. Proximity of relationship can be time and space and relationship. Bornhill and Young is the case for time and space of a relationship. A pregnant lady was walking in the street and turned a corner. When turning the corner, she had a motorcycle accident and decided to turn back around the corner to see what had happened. She saw the accident, which she argued that the shock had caused her a stillbirth. Unfortunately, the court said that she was only in the time and space of the accident because she turned back around, so it was her own fault. She wasn't in the time and space of the accident when it happened at first. So as you can see here, the claimant herself had put herself in the time and space of that motorcycle accident. If she hadn't turned the corner and she was there without turning around on her own account, she would have been time and space of it, and she would have been able to make a claim, but in this case she couldn't. McLaughlin and O'Brien is the case for relationship. In the proximity of relationships, the claimant's husband and son were in a car accident and got taken to the hospital. When the claimant arrived at the hospital, her husband and son were in excruciating pain and screaming. The witnessing of this caused the claimant psychological injury. This case shows that people with a close relationship is reasonable. So that would be husband and wife and children. Was the offence fair, just and reasonable? Hill versus Chief Constable of West Yorkshire. This is the case that we use for fair, just and reasonable. A serial killer known as the Yorkshire Ripper killed a series of women. The claimant's daughter was the defendant's last victim. However, the court said that it wasn't fair for the claimant to gain a reward of damages, as the killer's type of victim was too wide of a circle to narrow down to the fact the killer could have killed the specific victim. If the killer was targeting young girls with a certain colour eyes and certain colour hair from one particular area, then it would be fair, just and reasonable for the claimant to gain a reward, as they would have been able to protect that victim, as it's not really a large spectrum. So if it was young girls with pink hair and blue eyes, that's quite a narrow circle of victim. However, where there was just women, they could not distinguish which women were going to get targeted, so that it was not fair for them to get a claim. And that, guys, is the end of the Caparo and Dickman 3-part test. I hope this was helpful for you, and if you have any questions, just ask and I will try and help you out. So, good luck and goodbye.